Look, I know currently everyone is talking about blood and guts, and understandably so, but I want to go back and give praise to what's probably my favorite AEW match of the year that took place at Forbidden Door. Orange Cassidy vs Will Ospreay for the IWGP US title was the best that wrestling has to offer in every form and every medium. Now, you're probably hearing that and thinking I'm out of my mind, and chances are you're right. But hey, everybody watching this watches wrestling, so we're all a little bit crazy. Call me young, call me dumb, call me what's wrong with wrestling today, but don't call me a WWE fan, because what I love in wrestling is to have fun when I'm watching it. And at the end of the day, Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy was exactly that. Stupid, dumb fun. Most of you watching knew just how much this AEW New Japan working relationship meant to me. I mean, I've only made a million different videos about it because the amount of dream matches possible were endless. I mean, Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Oh wait, how about Tetsuya Naito versus Andrade? Oh man, okay, it's cool. We're still getting CM Punk versus Tanahashi. Oh, are you serious? It's safe to say that the Forbidden Door pay-per-view was cursed by the wrestling gods due to multiple injuries and politics that kept certain names off the show. But hey, we still got Shingo Takagi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, Jay White, and Will Ospreay. Ospreay in particular is lauded as one of the best in-ring workers in the world today. So when he finally showed up in the flesh in AEW, there was big questions. Who was he gonna face at Forbidden Door? What big dream match were we gonna get? And when Orange Cassidy returned from injury and it was announced that it was he who would be facing Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door, the world let out a collective huh? But little did the Orange Cassidy doubters know that Will Ospreay versus OC would be arguably the match of the night. But first, I get asked often by a lot of you how you could help further support the channel, and that's where today's sponsor, Surfshark, comes in. Surfshark is a VPN that allows you to browse online safely and encrypts all your info so you won't ever have to worry about anyone getting into your passwords or any of your information. But perhaps the best feature that Surfshark offers is the ability to virtually travel the world and gain access to websites and content on streaming services that normally wouldn't be available in your location. Here's the big one for all the AEW fans currently living in the United States. You can use Surfshark to change your virtual location from the US to, let's say, the United Kingdom. And instead of paying $50 for a pay-per-view, you now only have to pay $20. And this is only scratching the surface. Say you have Netflix in the US and you miss watching The Office. All you have to do is change your virtual location once again to the UK, and there you go, you have full access to watch The Office to your heart's content. And if you're ever traveling out of the country, it's just convenient to have access to an IP address from home. Here's the best part. Surfshark is the only VPN that allows you to use unlimited devices on one account. So to everyone watching, if you sign up with Surfshark today and use my code TRANK, you'll get 83% off plus 3 additional months for free. That's just in time for AEW All Out in September. There's a link in the description below so you can sign up for Surfshark now. Thanks guys. I was maybe one of the few people who didn't mind Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay when it was originally announced, but to anyone who wasn't a fan of the announcement or was upset by it, I hear where you're coming from. This is the first ever AEW and New Japan co-promoted event. We at least expected a couple of dream matches, but with the injuries and the politics that come with booking a co-promoted event, some compromises had to be made. And I'm not gonna lie, while I'm a huge fan of Orange Cassidy, if I was booking this event, having him in a singles match wouldn't have crossed my mind at all, and maybe that's why I'm not the booker. And it has nothing to do with ability. Anybody who knows Orange Cassidy, like actually knows him, knows he's fantastic in the ring. It's just that there were so many other names that would have come to mind first. But again, injuries and politics prevented certain dream matches from taking place. Now with that being said, when this match was made official and I finally let it sink in, I knew this was gonna be a banger. Obviously, for anyone aware, Will Ospreay is one of the best workers in the entire industry. He's a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He, along with Jon Moxley, Hangman Adam Page, and Jay White, are in the running for Wrestler of the Year in my opinion. So if you bring in a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, you would think that you would want to showcase him in a big singles match. But here's one thing that a lot of people don't consider when they're fantasy booking these dream cards. Somebody has to lose. So who can take a loss and still look like $1 million coming out of this match? Orange Cassidy. I think I can agree with people who were saying that Orange Cassidy was starting to become a little stale, his character needed a break, and I'll never ever wish injury on a wrestler. but the time off did serve as a blessing in disguise for Orange Cassidy because the audience was able to miss him. One of the things that made Revolution 2020 one of my favorite wrestling pay-per-views of all time was the match between Orange Cassidy and Pac. If you recall, or if you weren't watching back then, it was Orange Cassidy's first singles match in AEW, and it was against a formidable threat in Pac. And that night in the Wintrust Arena, they made magic in the ring. Orange Cassidy versus Pac is one of the best spectacles in modern wrestling history. We saw what many thought at that time was just a joke character in wrestling come out of his shell and put on a performance for the ages that cemented him as a mainstay in AEW. But since then, with the exception of the first Jericho match and the three-way for the AEW World title at Double or Nothing 2021, we haven't really seen that Orange Cassidy since. And again, this could be due to multiple reasons like injury and overexposure, but I felt like I needed to see that Orange Cassidy that I saw at Revolution 2020 once more. I needed that fun, stupid, he's gonna try version of freshly squeezed back, and I finally got my wish at Forbidden Door. It would be easy to say that one of the best workers on the planet, Will Ospreay, carried Orange Cassidy to a classic match. It would be easy to say that, but it would also be a massive lie. This was a world-class talent along with a fantastic talent, putting on a show stealer on a show that up to that point had already been fantastic. And the three matches after this one weren't slouches either. Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay put on a match for the ages on a show that will go down in history as one of the best in-ring events that I can remember in all my years as a wrestling fan. This match kicked off the third and final act of the show, but the crowd was reacting like the match went on first because the energy in the United Center was unreal. Leading into this match, Will Ospreay made it very clear that he saw Orange Cassidy as beneath him, treating him as nothing but a joke, and that's how the match started here. This match had a very simple story, one that all the big Orange Cassidy matches have, but this one did it better than all of them in my opinion. Will Ospreay goes into this underestimating his opponents, and by the end of the match, Ospreay is giving it his all to hang on to that IWGP US title and win. It was actually everything in between that made this match near perfect in my opinion. The comedy spots, the reversals, the near falls, the simple story of Orange Cassidy growing into this and making Will Ospreay try in an ironic twist. A quote-unquote spot monkey and a comedy wrestler were able to keep the crowd invested for nearly 17 minutes, and it crescendoed into a loud ovation when the bell rang and Will Ospreay got the win. But man, there were some standout moments in this match, like when Will Ospreay had his hand in Orange Cassidy's pocket and pulled out the middle finger, and maybe the loudest near fall of the night when Orange Cassidy hit the beach break and I almost thought it was a 3 count. There were some breathtaking moments in this match, and then it hit me. Why was this so good? Well, because when I went into this match, I thought there was no chance that Orange Cassidy was going to beat Will Ospreay for the IWGP US title. But during this match, these two performers made me believe that Orange Cassidy, the massive babyface that had the crowd rallying behind him, had a chance to win. And that's why we were all on the edge of our seats, because for a moment, we all believed in Orange Cassidy. Just like we all believed in him at Revolution 2020 when he faced Pac. I'm ashamed to admit, but it had been a while since I had believed in Orange Cassidy. But I don't put that on the performer himself, I put that down on the booking. I needed a reason to care about this character again. I needed something to reignite my love for Freshly Squeezed. It had been a long time since we saw OC on a big stage like this in a big singles match. And it goes without saying, but Will Ospreay also deserves half the credit because he was the perfect dance partner for Orange Cassidy. These two have very different, distinct gimmicks. One literally prides himself in being one of, if not the best in-ring wrestler in the world. The other is too lazy to wrestle. But it was that clash of styles, the fact that this was a joint pay-per-view between a New Japan wrestler and an AEW wrestler, that made this a can't-miss spectacle. This match just wasn't about moves and flips and bumps. It was a carefully crafted story that made us believe that just maybe any result in wrestling is possible. The best kinds of wrestling matches are the ones that make you feel like the world around you has just stopped. And that's what Orange Cassidy vs. Will Ospreay for the IWGP US title at Forbidden Door did for me. And it's okay if this match just wasn't for you. There's been other fantastic AEW matches this year, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't my favorite AEW match of the year. The spectacle of it all was just another level. And the surprise appearance of Katsuyori Shibata after the match was over to save Orange Cassidy from a beatdown was just the cherry on top. From the moment the competitors made their entrances for this match all the way to the post-match segment with Shibata, this whole thing was a masterpiece in my opinion. I feel bad for anyone who doesn't understand Orange Cassidy because it prevents you from enjoying classics like this. But if this match proved anything, it's that you should never bet against Will Ospreay in a big match. And when he's on his game, Orange Cassidy is still unrivaled when it comes to being a unique spectacle in professional wrestling.